Welcome to Graveyard Crypto. Today's date is January 14th, 2021. Price of Bitcoin is at $39,200 and Ethereum is around $1,236. Market cap is over $1 trillion and $63 billion. It's been a crazy week, right? We're basically saw all-time highs again. Hit what, 42,000? Just about that. And our predictions too, if you go back to our last episode, Jeff, you said 42, right?
I think I said 42.5.
42.5. So Jeff almost hit the high almost hit Jeff. It did consolidate a little bit. We had a big dip. People were freaking out because it did go from 42K all the way down to 30,000. And everyone's like, Bitcoin's in a bear market. And I'm like, oh my God.
Shortest bear market in history.
Yeah. Cause I got a little frustrated. I saw a CNN article or a guy that works for CNN basically make an article like Bitcoin's at all-time highs, but after this dip, it is now in a bear market. And I'm just like, really, dude? Like, can you at least wait till it goes under maybe 15K or something like that? I don't know. I mean, if you're going to sit there and say that,
that's about what a lower low would be. A lower low would be like below 18,000 at this point.
Right. But to sit there and make an article like that, like you know, no wonder why people call CNN fake news. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that, mainstream news and different outlets have agendas against, different narratives, or they have an agenda against certain things. And I'm sure who's ever behind CNN sees Bitcoin as the obvious threat that it is to these institutions that have total control and power.
Yeah.
Plus, it's clickbait. It makes people click. Simple as that.
Total clickbait and just, promoting to their fan base. Again, talk about that Yahoo News article that came out.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into it. Also, I figure right away, let's just start and get into, back in December 2nd, we had a episode where, and if you click, I don't know, it's one of these things, the link will come up. If you click here and you see that we've had $1,000 portfolio episode where each of us picked Bitcoin and maybe a few other cryptos on top of that, and wanted to see kind of where it was. And all of us, obviously, if we did the $1,000 or whatever amount it is, we basically all doubled, in cash, US dollar terms, what we had. And also, just another thing too, for anybody that's watching that's new, please subscribe and like the channel. We could definitely use more likes, more subscribes to help us grow, help the algorithm find us.
Leave a comment, all that.
Yada, yada, yada. Yeah, exactly. So on that note, let me just see if maybe I can share my portfolio that I have. Let me see if I have the right one. All right, so right here, if you look, that's the original, right? $1,000, 1,001. Price of Bitcoin was 19,000. Ethereum 592. So if you actually had made a position in all Ethereum, you'd probably be what is that, like 120% gain, something like that? Or no, it's just doubled, right? It's a little more than doubled. I mean, everything looks like it's just doubled. Yeah, I mean, but mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum have doubled on all that. Now, the only thing that has really hit the bed is the coin known as XRP. It is an S coin and it is not doing well. So let me go now into the other portfolio where it is currently. So if you look here, oh no, that would not be that one. So wah, 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 wah.
So much for being prepared.
Yeah. So anyway, here it is now. It's basically doubled. Bitcoin 39,000, Ethereum, and this is taken at 924. It's 1013 now, so it's doing pretty good. And I mean, if Jeff, if you want to maybe go through some of these charts, actually, I don't know if you guys have any of your crypto portfolios maybe made up, or maybe Jeff. I know we'll get into.
What do you want to do first? Do you want to look at charts for your stuff?
Well, you know what? We'll look at the charts after the fact. We kind of talk about our portfolios.
Okay.
And then, after that. So Jeff, basically what he did was he put it all in Bitcoin, right?
I basically bought out of my 1,000. I took 900 worth of Bitcoin, and I just put that to the side. And if you remember that day, I said I would have taken $100 in Bitcoin, put it on Bybit at a zero leverage long.
Right. And now that was our treasury, right?
Yeah, it's still running. It's doing pretty
treasury.
well. I made an adjustment since, so I had to do an estimation of where I would have been at if I had not added a little leverage to that.
Yeah. So
But basically, so my $900 worth of Bitcoin would be worth approximately 1,836 today. That 100 at the time would have bought me about 523,000 Satoshis. Bitcoin's gone up 100. Oh no, what's the percentage? Get the percentage. A little over. It was 104% since then.
well,
So
also,
that would have turned into 1,066,555 Satoshis, which today is worth $416. So the $100 I put into Bybit is now worth $416.
right.
So my total from 1,000 became $2,252.
Look at you.
So
First
I
place.
did the percentage. It's 125.2%.
Yeah. And also you could tell everybody a story because I think it's kind of funny, right? You put it in there, and you basically kind of forgot about it, right? You had it in a long, right,
Yeah.
on Bybit.
Well, I had went back in after our episode, and I was like, zero leverage. That's a waste. That's a waste of good Bitcoin. So I put it on a 3x and let it ride. Yeah, and that's when it added up even more than that. So yeah, our little graveyard crypto treasury fund is doing pretty well.
Woo! So we have 1 million Satoshis in our treasury.
Nice.
So far.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And listen, anybody,
that trade is still open.
Yeah, well, hopefully it can continue just to climb, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It still shows that even if you just had bought just straight Bitcoin, not done any Bybit leverage trading or anything like that, you'd still have over doubled your portfolio.
Say if I did not use leverage, I would probably be at about $2,036.
Yeah, so that's great.
Right where you were too, a couple bucks off.
But I mean, and that's just fantastic, right? I mean, the fact
that was great timing to start that episode just before we broke through 20K.
So if anybody put $1,000 in, guess what? You double their money. You could probably, especially if you look in terms in U.S. dollars. Now, obviously, us as a group, we believe more in terms of Satoshis, right? We want to think of everything in terms of Bitcoin. But most people, if you're starting out and you're just looking at an investment of $1,000 to put into something like that, you literally double your money. You could take your investment off the table, and now you're just riding with $1,000 in Bitcoin or whatever that is free money. Didn't cost you anything at this point.
I'd like to focus on the point too, like you say, this is a great example, I think, too, of that we think in Satoshis and not dollars first. That since I opened that inverse perpetual, so my long was earning me Bitcoin, I doubled the amount of Bitcoin I had, but the price of Bitcoin also doubled. So that's how my 100 turned into $400. I doubled my Bitcoin, but I quadrupled my dollars.
Yeah, it's a 4x because you doubled
that way, So that compounding, I suppose you would call it that.
Yeah.
Exponential.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That's why that really paid off for me making that move.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess I'm in third place from you guys. I did the tally of my numbers. I was 75% Bitcoin, 15% Ethereum, 5% Link, and 5% Wi-Fi Urine token. And I did the tally. It's worth about 1,975. So $25 shy of a double up.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
still not bad.
Not that bad.
Only like a 99% gain.
Yeah. Not too bad, but
there's nothing wrong with a 99% gain,
Yeah.
It's been the Bitcoin show too. We'll keep checking in on this portfolio and see how it keeps playing out over the year. I think we're going to start getting different numbers as we keep checking in with this.
You can't stress enough that everything outside of Bitcoin is possible because of the success of Bitcoin. So
yeah,
Bitcoin is the anchor of everything in this space. So don't ignore that fact. It's easy to come into the space new and get lost in the idea of, what can I do with these other coins that are not 40 grand yet? What can I do? But really, it's just all about the return on investment, the percentage gains year over year. And even though Bitcoin's a large, scary looking number, it still proves to have the best ROI most of the time.
Right. And that's what you said. It's the Bitcoin show. Even if you're watching mainstream news, they're not talking about Cardano, which I'm a big fan of. They're not talking about all these other things. They might be talking about XRP because of the whole, the lawsuit.
SEC lawsuit.
Right. So that is being brought up. Maybe once in a while you hear Litecoin and Ethereum, but the reality is, you turn on CNBC, guess what they're showing? They're showing a ticker with a Dow Jones and, the NASDAQ as like right in the corner, flashing more than sometimes those, so to me, they're not flashing anything else. They're not flashing XRP. They're not flashing Ethereum or anything like that right now. So that's it. And everything goes into Bitcoin. And then sometimes people get into that and they go, oh, what are these other things? And then they start getting into the rabbit hole. But most people, especially new people, they don't buy Bitcoin because they're scared of the price. They say, oh, that's almost $40,000. I'm getting like 0.00001, whatever, with my $20 or something like that. And it's like, well, for $20, I can get, 100 of whatever this token is. And it's like that to me as and because I could understand the mindset where they're looking at low cap coins, right? If you buy a low cap coins, your potential of 100xing are definitely going to be greater, but at the same rate too, your potential of losing everything is going to be greater also.
Which has been my experience when I got started getting into those kind of coins. Some of them went to zero.
Yeah, small cap coins, like I said, they're literally sometimes like you're gambling. Maybe you're not. Maybe there is something out there, and you found it, and you started using it. You looked at it, somebody, and you bought it.
Yeah, I mean, most of them exist purely to extract Bitcoin from you. So
yeah,
how they're used. Yes.
I mean, you just have to go. If you look at like CoinMarketCap and you trace the top 10 cryptocurrencies over the last 10 years, you'll see 3 through 10 change all the time. I mean, Bitcoin has been at the top the whole way, and Ethereum has been a pretty solid second the whole way, whereas you see shifts all throughout the top 10 and especially the top 20.
Yeah.
And why is that? It's because projects are coming in, they're failing, and most of them are scams.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true. And also too, like, if you do look into alts, like, please don't pick number like 185 in the coin market cap ranking. Like, at least look at like the top 20 or something like that. And even then, because like right now I'm looking at it, the top 5 right now are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, which tomorrow is a key date, right? That's that New York Attorney General, I guess some sort of court proceeding where they're basically asking Tether to approve their funds that are backing up the Tether that is being made. So we'll see how that goes. XRP is number 4, which actually has kind of made a little bit. Now Polkadot, which we were talking about the last time, that one's actually having a pretty good day. It's up 25% today.
55% on the week.
Yeah, which is I wanted to buy some, just not a lot, like a small position, and I'm seeing it move. Like it's really taken. Today is actually a real good day for that compared to almost anything.
I feel like Polkadot this year is like last year's Link. Like the project does have value, but the hype is there this year, like Link had last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's a top 5. It's number 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's number. That's like
jumping in front of Litecoin.
Yeah, and Cardano's been out for like I guess 3 or 4 years now, and I think 3 years. But just to see it above them,
Very impressive.
Yeah, I mean we'll see what it does, and I do like that it's a staking proof of stake coin, and basically what do they call that again? smart contract platform and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it's basically like a fresher Ethereum.
Yeah. So we'll see. I
just
might
'cause-
have to just throw something into that. Maybe I'll sell some of my S coins and get into that. You know, I have some coins that I have like only $50 worth, so maybe I'll get rid of some of those and just put a couple $100 into it and just see where it goes. Because people are saying it could hit $100 this year. I don't really know. I don't really know if that's going to happen, but
Stranger things have happened.
that's what the people are saying. But you know, we'll see. So anyway, circling back to Greg, I guess.
Well, I just think I want to point out for myself that I made the most profits, and also I guess the price of Bitcoin. So I'm the winner today. I decided.
Yes, you are.
Thanks,
Clear,
guys. I need
clear,
that
clear
validation.
winner.
I need
And
that validation. I didn't get enough of a pat on the back from you guys. So
I mean, I definitely when I made that $1,000 portfolio video. I expressed that I shared your sentiment, going 100% Bitcoin. But
yes,
definitely
you
that
did.
little, tip for the point one on Bybit wouldn't have gone through my mind. So definitely all credit to you there.
Yeah, because otherwise, if not, we're pretty much all equal. But
Yeah,
most
pretty
of our
much within a few dollars. Yeah.
you know, most of our portfolios were at least 70, 75%, and 100% Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're all like all coins or something like that. Because then if it was that case, it wouldn't even really be a contest.
Definitely.
So what was I going to say? So I don't know. Maybe we can go, Jeff. Maybe look at some charts.
Charts now.
I don't know. Maybe or save it for
Charts.
later.
Let's do charts. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, we could just
starting.
like briefly look at some of these things, coins that we were talking about that were in our portfolios. Just kind of just see really what was worth even buying and what really was not. So right now we are looking at, what is this right here?
Bitcoin.
Okay, so we're looking at Bitcoin right now.
That was where we entered the green line.
Okay. Now, was that before the dip or after that?
I think it was December 2nd. So we were right here. So like right in the middle of that range where it was kind of, grinding against 20,000 before it broke through.
Yeah. I mean, look at that though. It's a beautiful chart. Just up and up.
Sure is. Especially this bounce we got going on right over here.
Yeah. Well, if you look at that bounce, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm just talking like just what I'm seeing. Like it almost looks like the same bounce we saw right before where you're looking at. Where right before kind of we bought.
Right here.
Yeah, kind of looks like that, just a little smaller. Maybe a little steeper.
They call that a fractal.
Yeah. But it does look very similar. So maybe.
Which, yeah, really, that's a good point. That really wouldn't surprise me. And then we'll range for a little while, and then
maybe we'll
big deal.
That, and that's when we go to 70 or 80,000 right there. So
right here.
Yeah, it could like you just like I said, I'm not the big chart guy. You guys definitely are bigger in a chart to me, but I can look at trends and I can kind of just have a guesstimate of where it might go, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, huh. And then what will happen too is you get up to the $80,000 mark, right? And then it'll probably dump to 60 or something
like 55.
That. Yeah, and then it'll do the same thing again. Then that's when you go to 160, probably in May or some crap like that. I mean, that's some real fucking. Oh, I shouldn't be cursing because now we're gonna lose the algorithms and kick us off. But that's some real, Imagine looking at a couple months from now.
Let's see. This line I drew is the 20th of February. So let's see if my guess is right. 80 grand by the 20th of February, just by my sloppy scribble drawing here. That's my prediction.
Our prediction.
Based on nothing.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes, as they say, like the trend is always your friend, right? Until the end or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I mean, honestly, if you look at this, it looks like this upwards trend is accelerating.
Yeah, like more parabolic.
It's still going parabolic.
Yeah.
So it might even get steeper.
Which is going to be more volatile and just a lot crazier. And, that's when we're going to be getting those calls. Sal.
Well, it's interesting. I know everybody was saying like, oh, this is a bear market. What was our drop here? Oh, come on, ruler. But like the pullbacks in the last run were like 40%. This was just shy of 30%.
Right.
And I've heard a lot of analysts talking about how the volatility of Bitcoin is going down as the price goes up. So it's obviously a larger dollar amount that we're dropping, but the
Yeah, which is
percentages are
going to
getting
get
smaller on those drops, you know?
right, and that's the thing. Like, if you have a larger dollar drop, even though the percentage is not as much or whatever, you're going to get more mainstream media chatter because it's like, oh, it went down $10,000 in a day, but then it's going to be like, well, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to see these crazy swings in the future. Like, I'm not going to be surprised, at some point, in years, we're going to see $100,000 swings in a day or something like that. I mean, I don't know if that's pushing it, but I mean, if it's couple $1 million of Bitcoin,
10%, that's not a big deal.
yeah. Let's say Bitcoin's $5 million. If it goes on $100,000, that's like what, 2%, 3%,
2.5%, something like
nothing. That's nothing.
That's nothing.
So,
So, Jim Cramer's new into Bitcoin, CNBC,
mhm.
and he was talking about this. I saw a little clip. He was talking about this too. He's like, Bitcoin, he's like, did 25% this weekend. He's like, but I already know that you can't really count on the price action of the weekend. He's like, and it already bounced back up. So he was just like shaking his head. He's used to traditional markets. He dropped 25%. And that's like a recession. And in Bitcoin, it's just like a bad Saturday.
It's just normal.
Yeah, all those news articles. It's now a bear market. Like, what the fuck?
Well,
Asshole.
and actually going to that too, who knows who's kind of pulling those strings, right, with these news articles? Because I was reading something or listening to something about Guggenheim, how they love Bitcoin, but I think for some reason they haven't gotten in as what they wanted yet or something like that.
They didn't get approval from the SEC to buy yet.
Right.
Yes.
So
not until January 30th or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you might see some big wild moves, maybe them trying to suppress the price before they can get in, and then after that, that's when they will, where they said, what did they say, $400,000 they're predicting or something like that.
Yes, that was their prediction. Yes.
Yeah. So they're predicting $400,000, and they're trying to buy. I think they wanted to use like, I don't know the number. I don't want to just talk out of my ass, but
it was three-figure millions. It was hundreds of millions.
Yeah. So when they do get that approval and they do buy, just be prepared to see another large move up. That could be the next move up to like like what we were talking about, that 80,000 right there.
February 20th. I mean, Michael Saylor with the MicroStrategy thing, they were buying, he said, in this whole area here.
Right.
So they looking at this, like that looks like they created the bottom of the market as almost one entity buying. They obviously had a large influence anyway. So that's something maybe, like you said, to keep an eye on in the early first few weeks of February. If you kind of see that tight ranging,
yeah,
it'd be partly Guggenheim buying potentially.
Right. And actually, I was looking at, I think the MicroStrategy stock is like $600 a share.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Is it quite a bit?
Or $400? Like, it was up like
631. It's up $111 today. 21%.
Yeah. Like, so whether or not whether or not Michael Saylor believes in Bitcoin or not, which I do believe he believes in, I think he's sincere about it. But man,
sounds like he does. Yeah.
Even as a salesperson, like that guy literally just increased the price of his company between buying Bitcoin and having it as a reserve, and also driving the price of his stock up. The guy's like. You
guys see this MicroStrategy chart? It went up almost $100 today. Look at this volume. That's ridiculous.
Those are all Bitcoin people who can't buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. It could definitely be other companies that
was he buying back in July?
Can't buy Bitcoin, like you said, but they said, well,
this is like he was buying in this area.
Well, if anybody knows anything about valuing like traditional stocks, it's all about running the numbers on the company and how much cash reserves do they have and how profitable they are and what's the cash flow. And you add all that up and you take a company that had $500 million cash reserve, and now that 500 million is now worth what?
billion at least.
4x. I mean, it makes sense that the company's going to follow that that run of the value of the company's
Simply
capital.
by holding Bitcoin, yeah, it raises the value of the company.
It's,
And I remember when that announcement came out, there was this big gap over here. So this is where he announced that they were buying all that Bitcoin.
Yep.
So the price at the time was $123, and we hit 631 today.
And then
And
you
that's
see that
in
other gap early December where they announced that they're going to be selling company bonds to get cash to buy more Bitcoin.
that's right here. You're looking.
Yeah.
That's the end of November right there. Yeah. Yep.
And then boom, another leg up. So
And I
genius
think
of
it's
the
going to
year,
keep going
Michael
from there.
Saylor.
Yeah.
I like that that's considered indirect exposure to Bitcoin. If you're
Yeah.
uncomfortable holding it yourself, this is a way to kind of get exposure to Bitcoin in a sense.
Well,
Right. And
yeah, I mean, like those retirement accounts that you were talking about earlier, how, you people who have this retirement money, they play the individual stock market. They don't have access to Bitcoin. They don't have that cash can't touch Bitcoin. I mean, they could go into GBDC or stuff like that, but maybe MicroStrategy buying that stock is a better play for them.
right. Actually, I was gonna say, like my dad, I keep telling him to buy Bitcoin, and he's like, well, I don't want to. He was basically like, it's too volatile and this and that. But he actually did buy Square,
Okay.
which is also another company, kind of like, or PayPal, you could say too, but or MicroStrategy. But basically, it does have a tie to Bitcoin. So, and they did buy, I think, $50 million in their reserves worth of Bitcoin back then, which is probably worth about 150, 200 million now. I don't know what it's worth. I'm just guessing right now.
Yeah,
Plus, that's one
Jack.
of the more easily accessible platforms for people to buy Bitcoin. So as the demand goes up for Bitcoin, that's going to benefit Square as a company. They'll be more profitable. So it makes sense.
Right.
I know I heard Raoul Pal talking about recently that a lot of family offices and stuff are like begging for an ETF with Bitcoin because it's easier for them to buy an ETF than go do what like Guggenheim is doing and go get SEC approval to invest in it. They don't want to go through through all those hoops. So we'll see what that looks like when an ETF eventually comes out too.
Right.
So many more people have so much more of a easy access to it then,
Yeah.
But anyway, that's MicroStrategy. Back to the charts. Do we want to
It's
look anything else over on Bitcoin?
no. Let's just move through and look
Keep
just
moving through.
quickly
So
at.
here we got Ethereum against the dollar. So let's see, where were we at? December.
Right before that, the same kind of dip we saw, right? Like Bitcoin, you see that right before, yeah.
December 2nd. It ranged a little longer.
Right, but that was because Bitcoin pumped first, and
Yes.
then after, like, usually how it is normally. I mean, not normally, but from what I have previously seen historically, that Bitcoin pumps and Bitcoin does real nice, and then it kind of sits for a second. Then when it's sitting, that's when they all start pumping, and usually ETH is the next one to go.
Yep. See right here, January 3rd, Bitcoin has this little tiny green candle.
Yeah.
And then we get a pullback the next day. That was January 3rd. That's where Ethereum had this tall green candle.
Oh yeah, it was.
So that kind of implies that some of that liquidity went from Bitcoin into Ethereum,
Okay. Well, we could also go to, if you the next
I
chart you
think
have.
I will go to the next chart. I just
Okay.
also wanted to add, it's a very good sign when an altcoin is rising in USD terms, same time as Bitcoin is, or more so than Bitcoin. That shows a lot of strength,
Right.
which
Yeah.
really shows what a lot of value, or at least interest in Ethereum.
Right, and then that's what you kind of see over here.
Well, let's see. Anyway, daily here.
Also, I saw something too. Just go back to Square while you're clicking that and getting that thing set. Was with Square. Michael Saylor was talking about Square, how Square now is going to make it, because people are saying like, oh, Bitcoin's not good for buying like small items and stuff like that. And he's like, that's where these companies like Square and PayPal are going to come in, where if you're not making a big purchase and you just want to use, like, you buy coffee or, small items with Bitcoin for any reason, even though Gresham's law, nobody really wants to spend the good money. You just want to spend the bad money, which I would only want to use dollars. But anyway, if somebody does want to use their Bitcoin because they go, well, you can't really use Bitcoin to buy anything. They're going to make it a lot more smoothly for people to make smaller transactions. And then once those transactions happen over their network, they'll settle it on their network, and then they'll settle it over the Bitcoin network and make smaller, bigger, bigger, less transactions, but they're bigger transactions. So,
which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's almost a second layer solution in a sense.
Yeah,
it's going through a centralized third party, which we don't like, but
right, which is
ease off the network traffic.
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully the Lightning Network does become a thing where we don't really even have to use Square, PayPal, but the average person is not going to really probably use that initially until it comes out. But now we go up to start right here, December.
Yeah, this is Ethereum BTC.
Right. So
which you're basically just about even from where we bought in December 2nd.
Okay.
But you see here, like I was saying, Bitcoin started running in USD terms. So you see Ethereum falling here, and then it shot up over here again, January 3rd, which shows a lot of strength.
And we've been seeing that a lot of, we've discussed that 32 number, right? So I don't know what it is now. Maybe I'll take a quick look, but 30, usually we've been seeing for like a while, 32 ETH equals 1 Bitcoin. So right now it's 31.7.
I did some math wrong there.
So right now, 31.7 ETH equals 1 Bitcoin. And it's interesting because you need 32 Ethereum to run a node for staking to actually start earning Ethereum on Ethereum 2.0's network. But, that 31, that's a key number though. You look at like the 32, it just seems it's kind of interesting, like 1 Bitcoin, the power of that where, you can make passive income.
I know exactly what you're saying. And if you see the green line I put here, that means at this price, that's approximately 32 Ethereum.
Right.
Follow it across, and you can see how often Ethereum is kind of hanging around that price.
Yeah. The only thing I do have to say about Ethereum in the short term, I do think Ethereum is once Ethereum hits its all-time high again, which I think was like 1,400 or something like that.
1420.
Yeah. So once we see that, that's when Ethereum could easily probably double or something like that. And that's when you might see that if you go back to like 3 years ago or whatever, 4 years ago, you might see it where you got numbers like not like that high. I don't think it'll ever get that high. Maybe it will. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, this is the Bitcoin chart still.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? Like compare it to. So maybe you could double so instead of it being 32 ETH equals 1 Bitcoin, maybe it's 16 or something like that. So we don't know what we're going to see. I mean, obviously some people are going to be like, no, it's always going to continue to go down, but it just seems that 32 right now has been kind of like the average, going on. So it's good to see though, for some people, like, again, if you're looking to earn Bitcoin, maybe at this point you buy some Ethereum for, the next couple months, and then you just hold it. And then once you increase that number of Bitcoin, per ETH, then you can sell and profit and make more Bitcoin if that's what your goal is.
If you time that right, yeah. I mean, if you called this a potential cup and handle pattern forming,
right,
I think you could, depending on what happens here. I mean, the price target there is about $2,600.
Yep.
Just using some basic pattern analysis.
Right. I mean, like I said, I think it's definitely the only thing Ethereum's been bothering me with lately is just the fees. The fees are insane.
Oh, I wanted to mention too, I had some trades going on when we had that sell off for Bitcoin. So I was moving some funds on the on chain for Bitcoin. It took over 12 hours for the transaction to confirm.
What about
I hadn't thought of because you could watch on some of the block explorers where you fall into the scale of how many how much you paid in gas fees.
Right.
So I could have paid more in gas fees and got it done more quickly.
But who wants to pay more? I mean, unless you're
I was just sitting there for hours and hours.
And how much in fees did you pay to move Bitcoin?
I moved 1 Bitcoin. It cost me $4.
That's nothing.
So I mean, approximately at the time $35,000. It cost $4 to move it.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to get my transaction approved immediately, it would have cost like $6. No,
I mean, that's it's still nothing. Like,
nothing.
because I actually on like Twitter, I always like to get into my like things with people, and then there's a thing, the have fun staying poor, but then there's another thing, have fun paying fees, right?
Mm.
And I think I might even discuss this the last podcast, where there was a guy who was like a nano person who was like, have fun paying fees. And I'm like, it's $4, dude. Like, if you have thousands and thousands of dollars with something, who cares if it's $4? Obviously, if you're buying a cup of coffee, you don't want to spend $4 in transaction fees, which goes back to the whole Square thing or any other third party that could get involved in that. But I mean, if you're buying a car, like a Tesla right now is valued at a Bitcoin, right? If you want to buy a Tesla and it only costs you $4 in fees to move that money, who cares? It's $4. Okay.
It doesn't even show up as a percentage. It's nothing.
Right. It's nothing. Write it off as a tax. Tax write-off.
You're going to have the nano crowd coming after you now.
No, I actually,
You're not condoning that nano statement, by the way. Just go after Matt.
I still own Nano. I have a little bit. I don't.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I think I do. I don't.
What is it, in your pocket? What are you doing?
No, hold on. Let me see how much Nano I have. Yeah, I have like $50.
Here.
I have $50 worth of Nano. Maybe that'll be the coin that I sell to buy Dot. Take that, Nano. No Nano for you.
What do they call those people? Like nanites? What do they call them?
I don't know.
XRP Army?
Link Marines and nanobots.
YFI had a nice little move that you bought, Greg.
Yeah, it's been pushing lately.
That price is crazy. What is the price of YFI?
Just a little less than 1 Bitcoin right now.
Let me just look it up. I don't know if you guys know what the actual supply of YFI is.
25,000.
There's only 25,000 of those coins.
Is it 30?
I think it was 30. I thought it was 30. You probably know better than me, but it was low. It was 5 figures.
It's 30,000.
Damn. Yeah,
I'm on fire today.
Nice.
But actually, no, it's 30,000. Because I'm looking at this volume and it says 19,600, and I'm like, But yeah, I mean, and it's only $1 billion market cap too. So
I remember back here, it was worth like 3 Bitcoin or something like that.
Yeah, but again, let's just say YFI or Yearn becomes like, because I'm using it, Greg's using it. I like it so far. I have no complaints. Hopefully everything stays the way it is. But let's just say it actually becomes a real marketable crypto. I mean, it's at $1 billion now. I mean, what's to say that it can't be worth $100 billion and whatever, So
That's very true. And this is one of the few cryptos that actually serves a purpose right now. It's a usable, functioning platform.
Yeah, I'm earning like 15% interest on my DAI right now. That's great. So like, I personally don't own YFI. I think I kind of missed out on it. I still probably won't buy it. If I were to buy a token that's kind of like that, but I don't know if we would say it's similar, but I would probably still buy MakerDAO. Where you're gonna use that to back up your
big numbers.
Your Ethereum. Use your Ethereum as collateral to basically generate DAI and take out loans. Decentralized. With not dealing with anybody, but just you and the blockchain to basically take out DAI. You can take out DAI on a where right now if you're borrowing off of your crypto, technically you're not selling it, which means you don't have to pay taxes on it, right? I mean, is that
That's the way it goes. I mean, yeah, and kind of similar to what Jeff did with that 0.1 Bitcoin. He put it in a long position to gain more Bitcoin off of it. So you gain on the percentage gain as well as the dollar gain. But you could also take collateral off of your coins, put them in decentralized finance to gain dollars and additional coinage that way. Which is fun. And that's what I've been experimenting lately on Uniswap, contributing to liquidity pools using Ethereum and Bitcoin, which has been pretty fun.
Yeah,
interesting.
There's definitely a future for it, and I think that.
Yeah,
Where you becoming your own bank?
I saw a cool article coming out. It was comparing basically like driverless cars to driverless banking. He was kind of talking about the laws that are in place, well, the laws that are not in place for uh, like cars. All the laws are in place basically to um, coordinate human error, not driverless era, you know? So like all the laws have to be rewritten on its face. And similar with the banking, which is what I consider decentralized finance to be disrupting, because decentralized finance is just decentralized banking.
Mhm.
All the laws that are on the books for banking is also to protect people from human error and, you know, human basically like, you know, human
Right.
invasion
Fraud.
of their assets and fraud. Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's no rules on the books for banking when there's no humans involved. So it's kind of
It's
really interesting to see.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that it makes everything so interesting about this stuff. Because, I mean, not to get off beat, but maybe just for a second we could talk about that because we're talking about regulation, right? The IMF lady, what's her name?
Dean Lagarde,
Yeah, maybe you could just pull that up real quick because
the ECB, the European Central Bank.
yeah, so they pushing to regulate Bitcoin, and that's obviously going to be more just to regulate cryptocurrency in general. And I'm just thinking like how do you do that? Like, are you gonna what have every like if you're gonna have to have a you know KYC for a Bitcoin wallet, and like I don't know, like because it's like I don't I just to me I don't understand, I don't see how it's gonna really work. Like I could see it being regulated in certain ways, but like you can't control it. They're not in charge of it. It's decentralized. Like that's it. Like it's not theirs to control.
Bye, Bobby. Bye, bye.
And the best part is like, can you just go to the quote that you said? Funny business. Like where's
Oh,
I can yeah. Bitcoin has funny business. Like, and it's like, oh, because it's used for it can be used for money laundering and stuff like that. Meanwhile, didn't she get arrested 4 years ago or 5 years ago for like taking bribes or payouts and stuff like that? And she should have faced a year in jail, and they didn't even put her in jail. Like, but yeah,
sounds like it's par for the course.
Yeah, I mean,
I
she's the ECB president. She literally prints trillions off the backs of working Europeans, and that's perfectly fine. But a guy who steals 20 euro on the street is a fucking criminal. Sorry,
yeah,
F-bomb.
that's all right.
I have to
And
do some
actually,
audio editing this time. That's
I
good.
think she
That
was
was another learning experience.
a minister of finance, I think, for France or something like that too at the time.
She's got a dope face mask. Look at that thing.
So like, if you want to just really quick, let me just share something. Because actually I pulled up something about that.
Go for it.
But like I was just like I could, because I had heard she had gotten arrested, for it. And hold on, let me just move this stuff around. There's too much junk anywhere. So if you look here,
Oh, look at her. She looks guilty.
she convicted, found guilty of criminal charges over massive government payout. She was a former French finance minister who faced potentially 1 year in jail, will not face any punishment, which is another joke. It's like she I think, and look what it was. She has been convicted of her role in controversial 400 million, I guess that's euro, payment to a businessman. What's the L for?
Pounds.
Pounds. Okay. French
I think.
judges. Yeah, you're probably right. French judges found they're guilty of negligence for failing to challenge a state arbitration payout to the friend of former French president, Nicolas Sarkozy. Like, it's just, again, you're going to sit there and say funny business. Meanwhile, you actually did criminal activities, didn't even go to jail for
You're
it.
literally a criminal. Yeah.
And you're talking about funny business. So, like, please just stop. Like, spare me. And I don't want to go on my rants, but like, spare me. Just spare me this.
Yeah,
crap.
like who are you? This reminds me actually of a quote from Al Bundy. It is wrong to be French.
That was a great show, man. It really is. I was watching that not too long ago, and I was like, man, this show was amazing. And
Yeah, as a role model.
and watching it now, it's even funnier because of like the political correctness stuff. And it's like that show is definitely, not.
No way that would fly today.
Oh no, definitely not. So anyway, going back
to the price action. So now we are on Link and the U.S. dollar.
Right.
But you can kind of see what I was talking about. Like Link was a monster last year, 2019.
Yeah. No, it definitely. I think I had bought in where it was a couple dollars, and I remember this one guy that I had followed on YouTube, which there was I forgot Chico Crypto, and there were some things like I had bought that he recommended that were absolutely crap, but for one thing that I actually did buy that he really was like on point with was Chainlink.
Mm-hmm.
And
see, 1 year ago today, Chainlink was about $2.45.
Yeah.
And today it is $17.82. And actually, it looks like it's about to break into blue sky again. If it just breaks above $20,
and that all-time
price
high
discovery again on Chainlink already.
Right, and that all-time high was before like it really got into like a bull market now, kind of where Bitcoin took off. That's what was interesting about Chainlink.
Well, that top in Chainlink was because of the DeFi explosion. So I mean, it's probably good to touch base on what Chainlink does, right?
Yeah.
Chainlink is used by like literally every decentralized project because it's basically just a data stream of price for all the different assets that exist, not only crypto, but all like traditional finance as well. It provides all that data to the decentralized platforms so that those decentralized platforms have something to function off of.
Right.
So they all use it. What sparked my interest in Chainlink also was just looking at the link to Bitcoin chart, and you could see that since it was created, it's been outperforming it the whole time. So
yeah.
I'm always attracted to digital assets that have been outperforming Bitcoin.
Right, and that's definitely a way to go if you're looking to increase your Bitcoin or just have an asset that, if let's say Bitcoin, and when Bitcoin does become a world currency, that you have an asset now that is actually increasing over the Bitcoin value, which is good because that's what you want with any kind of asset. Like right now, most people, they're looking at their assets in terms of dollars. So you obviously want your asset to increase over the price of dollars. The only problem is with dollars are going down. They're not, they're printing out. I mean, I think what was it 30%, 25% of all the dollars that are actually out in circulation were printed this year. So yeah, I mean, and we had
which exchange would you use for a link to Bitcoin? What has more price history?
Binance, yeah.
KuCoin.
Binance has
Coinbase only had like 2 months or something like that.
Yeah, they were new in Coinbase because actually I had bought Chainlink, I think, from Binance, and then I finally realized, oh wow, Coinbase has it. So I actually bought it straight from Coinbase because that's a problem with when you buy with Binance, you have to buy Bitcoin and then send the Bitcoin over to an exchange and then exchange that Bitcoin for whatever asset or crypto you're buying there. So this is the Bitcoin to Chainlink chart, as you can see.
June 2018 through.
Yeah, that's a nice looking chart, man.
2 years straight, it went like straight up against Bitcoin.
Right. So
and then only when Bitcoin started ripping recently that it started to fall off a bit.
Right.
So that kind of reminds me of like my little Bybit move. If you invested in Link, so it's going up against the dollar and against Bitcoin. That's great. Beautiful. That's just what you want.
Right. Exactly. That's why it's an interesting project. And just being in the space, being in the DeFi space, it's a project that's being used, and it's providing utility to the industry.
Yeah. But like I said, that's like, it seems like a pretty interesting project just to get your hands on if, someone's looking at, other things besides Bitcoin.
It's actually a working product, which is rare in this world, this cryptocurrency world. Yeah.
DeFi wouldn't be possible without Chainlink.
And Chainlink wouldn't be possible without Ethereum, right? Because
right.
Chainlink built on, so
Yep.
That's why
Yeah.
Ethereum wouldn't be possible without Bitcoin.
Exactly.
True.
And that's exactly the pattern
That
that
is
you
100% true.
understand. Most people don't understand that
Right.
little diagram.
And that's actually something interesting too, where I see some chat rooms where there are a lot of new people in the crypto world or whatever, and they start talking about this coin and that coin, and how do I stake my ADA and this and that. And the first thing I ask them, I say, first of all, do you own any Bitcoin? Like that's the first question I ask them, because if you don't, like, what are you doing? Like you should at least have some position of Bitcoin. If you own crypto and you don't Bitcoin, I don't know what the hell you're doing, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, maybe you're smart. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's the safest play if you ever want to buy like something that's cryptocurrency or whatever you want to call it. You know,
Well,
like,
you could think about it as if you're investing in the stock market, you need dollars to use. That's where you start. And if you're
right?
investing in the cryptocurrency world, you should start with Bitcoin.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of
So
maybe
like,
a more simple way to look at it.
that's, you know,
Michael Saylor didn't buy anything else.
no, he didn't. And Kamath Palihapitiya, whatever. I think there was a podcast he was on. I think it was Laura Shin's thing, and she asked him, like, do you buy anything else besides Bitcoin? And he's just like, no. Like, there was no anything else. And it's like, all right, well, and hey, man, these guys are billionaires. Like, they definitely know a lot more than we do, even
Yeah,
though.
I think the maxi argument is that all this stuff going on with all the altcoins can be built on top of Bitcoin. It's just a matter of someone doing the work and building it out.
Yeah.
But typically, people who want to put in the work and build it out, they want to do it for their self gain, not for, the community at large.
There's other ways to leverage that too, which one day I'm still interested. I used to hold the coin, but I just realized that Bitcoin was going to be more profitable for me. But Komodo uses a delayed proof of work, they called it. They notarize their blockchain to the Bitcoin chain every 10 minutes. So they submit a block every 10 minutes with a hash that backs up their own blockchain. So it operates separately from Bitcoin, but leverages the network security, which I thought that was an interesting concept,
I think there was another crypto that I had bought. I think I still actually have it. It's called, where is it? Where is this thing? Elastos. And I think it was built on the Bitcoin blockchain or something like that. So I don't know, there is some things though with Bitcoin where, the proof of work does use a lot of electricity, and it would be nicer if we actually had renewable resources that actually mine Bitcoin. So you're not really worried about, basically
the environment or whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't that the argument for Bitcoin though? Like anyone who says it's the electricity use argument, it's like a bad argument because Bitcoin literally incentivizes innovation towards cheap electricity.
Oh, no, I agree. Because wouldn't it be amazing where you could literally mine Bitcoin and it won't cost you anything? No.
I mean, it's going to be amazing when everybody's refrigerator or anything that's always plugged in all the time has a little Bitcoin miner in there, and every freaking utility is just collectively contributing to the Bitcoin network.
Yeah, every phone, every smart refrigerator.
That's really the future that I see.
Well, actually, and another thing too,
I agree
on that, because as somebody has an engineering background, like what do miners do? What do they do? They produce heat, right? That's what they do. So I always thought like, man, like I want to just buy a miner and run it in the wintertime in certain areas just so I have like a heater that's heating certain areas while also earning Bitcoin, right? So like it would be cool if you had a miner or something like that that's producing heat and maybe it goes into a hot water system in a building or something like that, now you're producing Bitcoin for this building, it's making money, and at the same time, these miners are heating up the water that's used for people, so you're at least using the energy, you're not wasting anything. And actually, this goes to an article that I recently read. I don't have it up, but if you search for it, there are scientists in Antarctica right now that are mining Bitcoin. And now I didn't read the article.
About that too.
I briefly looked at it, but what it said, but from my phone, without even reading it, I was like, well, it makes sense, right? I was like, they produce heat. It's cold there. So now you're making Bitcoin, you're making money, and at the same time you're creating heat, which is heating up these you know buildings or whatever. So I don't
This
know
is
if this
not
is
it.
I have a
not,
little chart here that I could share that kind of goes over different industries and their yearly costs versus their energy used.
Pull it up.
yeah, do it. So, but it's just to me like, here we go. Let's say gold mining.
Gold mining's yearly cost 105 billion. Energy used is 475 million gigajoules. Um, gold recycling 40 billion to 25 million gigajoules. Paper currency and minting is 28 billion to 39 million gigajoules. Banking system 1,870 billion.
Jeez.
Governments.
2,340 million gigajoules. Governments 27,600 billion with 5,861 million
Well,
gigajoules.
that's just to spy on us, though.
Bitcoin mining 4.5 billion to 183 million gigajoules, way less than the majority of these here listed. So
Yeah.
it's really a no-brainer in my opinion. I mean, complaining about energy consumption without first complaining it to the energy consumption of gold mining and financial system. I mean,
yeah.
it's kind of akin to like, I don't know, just idiocy. Like, go watch the Kardashians if that's what you think.
Or
I was
go
listening to
the
something
movies.
today that they were talking about one of the biggest expenses in gold mining is diesel fuel that
Yeah.
you're burning, which there's no, because just to operate the machinery. With Bitcoin, there's not vehicles and that kind of machinery. It's little mining rigs,
Right. Would be cool too, though, if you had actual vehicles like cars that mined Bitcoin.
I was thinking about this too the other day. A thought came into mind, like, different geographies have obviously geographical
Advantages.
advantages
Yeah.
to mining.
Right.
Any northern countries in the colder weather have it,
Mhm.
or any other areas that might have a volcano. And then I started thinking about like the United States, like where in the United States is it
Wyoming.
most crypto friendly and also has the biggest volcano.
Wyoming, baby.
Old Faithful every 10 minutes
Yeah,
shoots off a Bitcoin
Dude,
block.
we're just
dude,
gonna. We're just gonna
everybody's
mine.
going to Wyoming. Even like my wife mentioned Wyoming the other day because I don't know, she mentioned something about
Beautiful there too.
I don't know, like a housewives kind of thing of Jackson Hole
Yeah.
and something with that, and she's like, oh, like a lot of wealthy people live in Jackson Hole and it's really
Great
hard to
volcano.
build there and it's expensive. And I'm like, dang, like, I don't know if you know, but like crypto is like booming there.
That's the crypto hub of America, yeah.
So maybe the future of the United States is like in Wyoming,
Yeah, well, they have.
particularly to take advantage of that volcanic action and all that free geothermal energy that's just spewing out of the ground there to
Yeah.
pump those Bitcoin mining machines.
Just
Well,
open spaces.
they
Yeah.
have that, and also just
Alaska.
dams and stuff like that too, where it's just water, rivers and water current, and they're using that to produce electricity, which is, you just so
Yeah.
it's
Even further south, like me and Jay talk about sometimes how solar is becoming and battery technology is becoming more and more efficient. So even
Yeah.
in the southern states who get full sun year round, you have solar
Yeah.
power.
I
The
think
problem
Texas.
with that is like you still have to cool the equipment,
Mm.
so like there's a big loss with providing the cooling for the equipment. So even though you're in a sunny area capturing all that
Yeah.
juicy solar,
Yeah.
you're still got a big loss on equipment.
It would have to get more efficient, I guess, to justify the expensive air conditioning too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, you guys got me on one. I was wrong once today after 3 in a row.
No, I mean hey, I mean if you
It's
could build enough solar panels to get it in the favor,
take
it's
care
it's
of it,
just
right.
it's an energy calculation. Like
Or you
just
can do
back of
it,
the napkin math says, it's a lot of cooling.
or maybe build it underground, so it's a lot cooler underground. So maybe you can kind of, exhaust the heat
That's
out
it.
fast, and you don't
South
need it.
Texas Bitcoin bunker.
And
That's not a bad idea.
we should just start designing, Greg. Maybe you just start designing mining facilities.
I mean, it's not an interesting thing. One of my favorite things that an engineer created was basically a generator rig that captured the stranded gas at oil fields. Um, if you know anything about oil drilling, they need to release the methane gas that's the volume of gas above the oil well in the pit below. So they just literally light a flame and have that methane just spewing out of the ground, and it's called stranded gas. And in Canada and in America, where they have these things, they actually have to pay a fee, a fine fee, for that stranded gas to Department of Environmental Protection, different environmental bureaus. And it's a nice chunk of change they got to spend on that fine. But this Canadian engineer, he built this basic container rig of miners and a generator that you could attach to the stranded gas to run the generator, and it runs Bitcoin mining machines. And he basically sells the machine to the oil manufacturers, and just basically pitches it to them like, listen, connect this to the stranded gas and it will cover your fine that you pay to the DEP, and you'll also get a profit on the Bitcoin that you're going to generate from the mining rigs. So it's like a perfect deal. I'd have to dig up to see who that guy was to give him some credit, but it's one of those projects where it's like, you know, if Bitcoin takes off and I get enough money to live on, like, it'd be cool to get into a passion project and participate in working on projects like that, where you can combine your engineering background with technology that you love.
Maximizing the efficiency and the energy output, and keeping the environment more clean.
So it's fun to get rich and stuff, but like, you still have a life, and you know, at that point, you know, you should be making most of it and hopefully contributing to humanity.
Being productive, yes.
Yeah, and actually contributing and again, at the same time, doing something that you love, and also you know, something that you have knowledge on and a background on, that you can kind of just do on your spare time and make that a project. That'd be great.
Yeah, I don't want to get too philosophical and all, but like, you know, you reach an age where it's just like, you know, we're the ones running the show now. And you also reach an age where you realize, oh shit, I thought when you get to this age, you're just going to find a bunch of responsible adults doing things. And it's not the case. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on, and nobody knows what to do about anything. We're literally just, you know,
day at a time.
Day at a time.
It's definitely,
that's it.
So try to solve problems and just go make the world a better place for your kids.
Yeah. And that'd be cool just to have a rig like that set up in a compound where it's just basically sustaining itself with electricity, water, all that stuff. And now guess what? It's also earning money. It's earning Bitcoin. Like, so now that, you know, people are concerned owning real estate where you have to pay taxes and upkeep and, you know, all this other stuff. And now all of a sudden, this facility or whatever that you have is basically taking care of that, which is, you know, goes back to my lovely term of passive income. Like, that's a great way to have it, where you have a facility or a house or whatever you want to call it that is making passive income. Again, you know, just another way of doing it.
Yeah, so I think it builds up to that. The technology, like I said, solar is something I've just been more interested in myself.
Yeah.
But the idea of just being self-sufficient in itself, I think we're moving towards that future. I've been working my way back through Star Trek, and I notice more now versus when I was a little kid and I watched the Next Generation. When they stop on Earth, you see these little pieces of technology they don't really reference. But now that I look more closely, I can see it's generating energy for the community or the house they're living in. And they just have everything they need. And I think it's possible for us to move into that future. I mean, potentially within our lifetimes, you know?
Yeah. Having, like, you know,
Yeah,
and I think it's good for people to have at least independent source of energy. Not to say like that, like, yeah, you can run your full house or whatever, but even if it's just enough to, you know, have enough electricity to run your refrigerator and you know, simple like stuff like that, where, you know, if something does go down with the grid, like, you could at least self-sustain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking into some of those things. I think Dometic is the name of refrigerator freezer. It's only a 12 volt.
Uh-huh.
And it opens over the top, so it doesn't let all the cold air out every time you open it. So, I mean, it's not the ideal refrigerator for yourself or the house for the full family, but they have these low voltage options now that aren't a big draw of power, you know?
I think I see those on sailboats a lot.
Yeah, and I've been looking into some of those schoolie builds. That's how I came across it.
Yeah, because you're on a sailboat. You don't really want to run your diesel generator to produce electricity. You want to basically get use solar and wind turbines to power up your batteries, and hopefully and most of the time I've seen some of these systems where that's good enough to basically do what they need to
Gives you enough to do what you need to do.
to run their water makers, and then also keep their food frozen or whatever. So
Bloomberg just published an article. Temperatures of negative 40 degrees are a big part of the appeal for Bitcoin mining in the Arctic Circle.
yeah,
That's what I just saw. I thought I saw something about that today on Twitter.
right.
I
So
think Bitcoin is the real Green New Deal. I think that's how to wrap that whole topic up. It's actually
yeah,
the real Green New Deal. If you just
that
embrace this and understand it, it could save a lot of energy throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think if the United States government actually had decided to make some sort of thing like that, where it might take on Bitcoin like that, like and do stuff like that, that's when you'll actually see something that might actually help the country and the people in the country.
Yeah, Chamath has a prediction that the first trillionaire will be somebody who tackles basically the global warming problem or contributes towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you solve it or not, I don't think it's solvable, but if there's a way to respond to it, and really that all comes down to having some type of better energy, right?
Yeah.
It could be a combination of someone with a Bitcoin thing, which drives the innovation of energy efficiencies. So it's kind of interesting to understand. It's just a popular argument you always hear, like the energy use, when it's like the complete opposite. If you really whittle it down and sit down and really dig through and understand what's happening, it's the complete opposite. That's a non-argument.
Yeah. And like you said, as you look at these miners, they're getting better and better, right? I mean, they're becoming more efficient. They're more powerful. So it's just as the technology improves and as time goes by, like it's just gonna work better, and that's how things, the technology goes, right? As time goes by, and you find the problem, you solve it, and next thing you know, everything's running more efficient, and then you run into another problem, and then you have people that go and solve these problems, and that's it.
That's how the world works.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, if you go to this article, you're looking here, or Pakistani government now mining Bitcoin directly, right?
I thought that was the direction you were going in with the U.S. government. That's why I flicked over to this, but I had this article pulled up already because I thought this was interesting and relevant news.
Yeah, the same thing with the Venezuelan army too. Like I was listening to something and they were talking about how this was going on. I think they bought I don't remember what it was they bought, but they bought something like a facility or whatever. And I heard Iran was mining Bitcoin. I think Korea, I think even Ukraine or Russia, maybe both. So, it's just like, I hope we are doing that. That's what I'm saying. Maybe they're keeping a tight lid on it, but
Maybe.
The only problem is the United States doesn't want to really make Bitcoin a big thing, because if the U.S. dollar no longer is the world reserve currency, we lose our power, right? I mean, that's kind of what they use against a lot of countries is, the sanctions and the ability to control.
I think we lose that power. I think if they were smart, they could still be, maintain being a relevant, powerful country in the world.
But if this country decided to become a Bitcoin powerhouse, and
it would save itself.
Yes, exactly. Like,
at least stop auctioning off the Bitcoin you confiscate from criminals. At least keep that.
Right. And I think they actually did hold on to the one from Silk Road, but if they went that way, because right now it's not looking good here, like at all.
Well, they have two ways. They could either embrace it themselves and mine it themselves, or they could just have absolute freedom for the citizens to let it grow and build on it. I mean, letting the citizens have the freedom to pursue industrial endeavors is what made the country great. So in comparison to the rest of the world, which has always constantly tried to regulate and just put a lot of red tape over things to stifle innovation,
right,
it's held the rest of the world back. And I mean, that's not the trend that I see happening,
No.
especially with the new administration coming in. It's people advocating for more central control and regulation, and they want control of everything. So
It
unfortunately,
looks like we're almost rolling into universal basic income at this point.
yeah. So unfortunately, it looks like we're not going that route. It's going to eat itself, but doesn't mean we got to sit
Which is the
idly
best
by.
case for Bitcoin that there is, in my opinion, as an individual, for sure.
Right.
Or as a nation, even like we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, if the United States wanted to save itself, it should definitely support Bitcoin mining and all of it.
Right. And you're saying like innovation and stuff like that. I mean, how did this country do so well for the past 30 years, I guess, with the internet, right? And all the Silicon Valley and all these companies that came out of it, right?
Exactly.
You don't see any other country with these mega corporations now, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
They're not even close.
Yeah, I think that's the popular argument for this industry is like, just do what you did with the internet. Let people just have the freedom to go and build on it.
And the best part is, right, it's not controlled by anybody except for, that to me is the bigger part,
Yeah.
right? Because it's the decentralization. Because like, even if we're talking about Apple and Google, Facebook, they're still centralized companies. They're not controlled by a people or a democratic process. It's controlled by, an autocratic fucking, one couple people or in a boardroom that are making all decisions for billions of people.
But they could still get shut down by the government, right? They're still licensed by the government. They're still corporations, which corporations are established by the state. So,
but then, I mean, what's to stop a company like Google from just moving out of the country? They could still operate. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure to move out of the country, they'd have to pay some hefty fines and things like that.
Yeah, they would chase them down for taxes, for sure.
Yeah.
Very least.
But yeah, I mean, moral of the story is allow your people to innovate. Freedom and liberty brings prosperity for the masses. That's what we learned in the 19th century. There's no reason to fray away from that.
That's what moves us forward as a civilization.
That's it. Freedom brings prosperity for the masses. That's what we learned. So.
And as you say, like sound money also helps a prosperous civilization too, because when you start looking into history of other great civilizations and how they collapsed is when they actually started debasing their currency. So, you look at Rome and something like that, where they had gold as basically like their standard and some silver and stuff like that, and they started basically shedding down their coins or making them smaller and smaller and smaller and
mixing the metal with.
Well, that's where the term debasement originally comes from, right? Mixing the metal.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
diluting.
And then people were not, and then that's when Gresham's law came in, where people would keep the gold and then they would get rid of the crappy copper coins or whatever you want to call them. Nobody wanted to hold that, so you spend it, and it's just kind of like dollars today. Like, there's no reason for incentive really for people to save. There's no reason. Like,
yeah, humans default towards the best form of money or store of value. That's what we've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking to a co-worker, colleague, friend. He's a Trinidadian guy, moved to the States in the early 90s, but his family still lives in Trinidad. And when he goes there, his brothers and stuff, they ask him, hey, you're going to go around the island. I mean, can you give me your US dollars and I'll give you the X amount of TT for that? And TT is the local Trinidadian currency because, here's people living in a little island nation and they're experiencing what I'm going through with the US dollar to get out of that, to get into something better. These guys live it their whole life trying to get out of their local currency into the US dollar, which is more stable than their currency. Most of the world experiences this all the time, whereas the majority of Americans have been asleep at the wheel for their whole life because they've never had that worry of getting out of their currency into something.
Yeah, it's not even a consideration. It's not even a thought.
But it
wasn't for me until I got involved with Bitcoin and started thinking about these things, very new for me.
But we're here and we're aware and it's spreading and the death cycles is growing every day.
Yeah. And, now with the new administration coming in, they're talking a $2 trillion package?
4.
4?
That's what I last heard.
I think his speech today talked about 1.9 this round.
I don't know. It's fucking trillions of dollars. So
What does it matter at this point? 2, 4, who cares? Who cares
Yeah.
anymore?
I mean,
it's about time. How much time do we have left?
yeah, it's a ticking time bomb.
Yes.
And, you know, it's kind of like who's going to be holding the bag of dollars, like U.S.
I
dollars.
feel like I've been listening a lot about trying to understand inflation versus deflation. And like the printing of money implies inflation. Obviously, if there's more dollars, the dollars are worth less. But there's no velocity right now because of the pandemic and everything, which leads to deflation. Because if the dollars aren't circulating, they're more valuable because no one's willing to give them up. So, you know, right now, maybe they're kind of balancing each other out. So we're not seeing too much of a price increase in goods and services.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when velocity picks up and all these dollars are also in circulation? It's going to be like, boom,
Well,
fast, like hard and fast inflation, you know?
I am seeing inflation. I mean, it's slight, but when I go to the grocery store, and I buy food, like like $100 does not get me nearly as much as that. And I'm a big,
Nothing.
you know, and I'm not the type of person that's gonna buy like anything. Like I literally will shop for the sale items and stuff like that. And I look at, you know, you go and you spend $100 and it's like, you know,
I mean, when a pound of meat is $4 and then it goes to $5, that's 20%. That's
right.
25%.
And people don't really realize, like, oh, it's $1, who cares? But then,
Right, that's 25%, bro.
yeah, it's a big, you know. Somebody was telling me I was going to get a 25% raise. I'd be like, oh, sign me up for that, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So,
And again, like we talked about before in other podcasts, there's ways to keep the price down. In other ways, by taking away quality of service or quality of customer experience or just content in the product. You know, the bag of chips model is just less than the chips. You know,
right.
grocery store model, there's no one bagging your shit. There's no cashier.
You got to pay for bags now.
You got to pay
Right.
for bags now. Like,
And just like price fixing and stuff, which
and that's why it's a ticking time bomb, because there's only so much you could whittle the quality of service down before you just have to increase prices.
right. And then also, you know, you increase minimum wages too. So then when you do that, you're just going to increase prices of everything right there because stores can't afford to pay people, and then think that they're going to survive. So what do? They have to increase their prices just to pay the people that, you know, you're increasing the wages. And then the people that,
they'll get rid of the jobs before they
probably.
I remember when New York City passed the $15 minimum wage. I was working in the city at the time, right by Atlantic Terminal in Brooklyn. And like once a week, I'd stop at McDonald's in Atlantic Terminal to give myself a treat. You know, I'd get some junk food. They passed that law, and I think it was in less than 2 weeks, they had 3 kiosks in the front where you ordered your food.
Yep.
They were ready to go. They were ready to stop having people.
Yeah, they're not going to increase their prices. They want to keep selling, so they'll just get a robot. That's pretty easy for McDonald's to do.
Yeah, they can do it.
They could do it.
It seemed like they had the machines in the back room, like they were just waiting for it. It happened so fast.
Yeah, minimum wage laws, man. I mean, don't get me started. It's the most fucking retarded thing ever because all it does is outlaw jobs. It literally says if you're able to produce $5 an hour, and the minimum wage is $10 an hour, you're not hireable.
Yeah, and then you end up on universal basic income. Seems
to
be the direction we're heading in.
Which they love because they just want those dependents.
And most time, minimum wage jobs should be for kids that are like in high school and stuff that are, you know, coming out. And now they're not even getting hired because they're not even worth paying, you know, $15 an hour. I don't know, you know.
No, I know how you're going to get the experience to get that job that's worth $15 an hour.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, that eliminates a lot of people from the workforce. It's sad.
And you want it sucks too because you want like. These people also might live in areas that it's just impossible to live in because of the price of everything is so expensive. I mean, you live in New York. How can you afford, you know, have a family and let's just say for whatever they're making $15 an hour. Like, how do you survive? Even if they're making a minimum wage, you bump it at 20 an hour, and then you know,
you can't, and it's no fault of like the people, like or whatever. It's the government inflating the money and stealing the value of the money that people earn.
which is taxing them, right?
Yeah, that's
That's
it.
another tax
It's
that you
an
don't even
indirect
really.
tax that no politician needs to get voted, get approved. They just press print.
Yeah.
That's the
And
point that
what,
I got to once I got into the carpenters union from the non-union job. I mean, my pay scale basically tripled. And I got to that point and I was looking at how much I was making. Like I was expecting to feel wealthy almost. And then I realized like I'm busting my ass so bad and I'm finally just making a living.
Yep.
You know, it was a good number. The number looked really good. But then when you compare how hard I have to work, how much I have to commute, how much time during the day, and then I can just afford a normal living. It wasn't.
Anybody earning a salary and living off that experiences the same thing. I don't care if you're making freaking 30 grand a year or 500 grand a year. Like, you're dealing with the same fucking shit. It's just, you're never going to get ahead of that. You're never going to get to the next level. You're never going to accumulate wealth. Because
Still got to run on that hamster wheel.
The taxes are too much, you know.
Yeah.
Once you're making over 200K, I mean, half of what you're making is getting taxed. But as they're inflating the currency year over year, your wage increases, if you're lucky enough to even get a raise, is not keeping up with it. It's not keeping up with the inflation of the monetary supply. So you're getting left behind.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way you could
especially after
survive
this year, you're getting less in the dust.
The only way you could survive is to spend less than you earn and throw it into risky assets.
And if you look at kind of what you're saying with that, I mean, that's why 100 years ago, you could have a family of whatever, say, 5 kids, husband and wife, and just the husband was working. The wife stayed at home, took care of the kids, and that was enough. The guy, husband, that person made enough money to basically pay for a house, pay for a car or whatever, and put food on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have to have both parents at work, which means now you got to put children in daycare if they're young and or even if they're in school, like it's very difficult for people. So
it sounds like slavery.
It is. It's economic slavery.
Yeah. You have to keep going to work so you can pay the taxes and just get by another day.
The only difference between physical slavery and economic slavery is that in economic slavery, people feed and house themselves.
Yeah. Man.
So we're going to go through some more price charts, or are we going to go over to some news articles here?
Well, Bitcoin could save us.
Bitcoin hopefully fixes this, right?
Got a little political, so why don't I come over here? Large Bitcoin payments to right-wing activists a month before Capitol riot linked to foreign account.
There's literally no point in mentioning Bitcoin in this article. It should either be a Bitcoin article or just alt-right, right-wing propaganda, like left-wing type of shit. Like,
yeah,
there's no, like, exclusive payments. It should just say large payments to right-wing whatever. But obviously there's some agenda here to collude Bitcoin with right-wing activists. Like,
right.
It's just retarded.
Yeah.
It's silly. Like, the author clearly has no idea what Bitcoin is, to make a headline like that.
Yeah, just to make a headline.
Anybody who doesn't know about Bitcoin, and if they're left-leaning or liberal-leaning, like, they're going to just associate it with something bad. And that's a big audience, right? They're just trying to get a big audience to look at Bitcoin in a bad light.
Right, and look who's in charge right now. I mean, and the people in charge right now are basically, left-wing people. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, they have the Senate, they have the Congress.
Well, I found another actually article that I felt was just as relevant about the downside and the criminal aspect of Bitcoin.
Well, just look at this. Look at that sentence, though. 28.15 Bitcoins worth more than 500,000 at a time. Someone made a simultaneous transfer of 28 Bitcoins. So you're telling me that if someone who understands Bitcoin would actually spend 28 Bitcoins for $500,000 worth? If anyone understands Bitcoin, you don't spend your Bitcoin, you hold your Bitcoin. Because now that $500,000 from December 8th is worth like 1.2 million. So
it basically lines up with our portfolio, would have doubled.
Exactly. So The author doesn't know what they're talking about, and if they want to mention Bitcoin, they should say that whoever did this transaction is a fool, whether they're right or left. Like that was a
Yeah.
foolish thing to
Well,
do. Is spend your Bitcoin. You're way better if you are holding Bitcoin to use your Bitcoin as collateral, draw cash from it tax free, put that cash in a duffel bag, and mail it to your uh, whatever cause that you're doing. So
yeah, I mean, because you could easily use U.S. dollars, which would be a lot simpler.
it's just freaking retarded. And
But
to get political, I mean,
yeah,
Bitcoin is a glorious tool for the left and the right. If you would just take the time to understand it,
now,
it'll help humanity as a whole.
my curious thing is about this is how do they prove that all of that Bitcoin was sent to all these people?
Oh man, look at this.
Well, that was the other part about the article, which was retarded because it's all speculation. There's nothing even like known. It's just a stupid article.
What does it say about Richard Spencer?
He apparently made a comment about Bitcoin being the alt-right's currency. That was the link in the article. It said Richard Spencer, who, obviously is, a bad reputation for alt-right in the left's eyes. I don't really know much about any of that alt-right stuff or whatever. Just a Bitcoiner, but just associating, if the left is representing greater central control and bigger governments, obviously Bitcoin is a threat to that.
Right.
Look at all these Bitcoiners. What a shame.
None of them know Bitcoin.
I doubt most of those people even like
That guy with the Viking helmet definitely has some Bitcoin.
Yeah. None of them do.
I stumbled across this one too. I thought it was humorous to kind of speak on the illegal things that are happening. I read through this article before because I didn't know what they were talking about. Apparently, there were some chastity cages that could be put around men so they would not be able to have fun with the ladies, to put it in polite terms.
Mhm.
But they were connected to the internet, and they got hit with some ransomware, and they wanted Bitcoin for it. So these dudes, got kind of stuck in a bad position.
Mm.
Is that Bitcoin's fault?
yeah.
Or is it the guys that took these
No,
weird internet
right.
cages and put it on themselves?
It's like that's what these people want because it's
They
good
just
money.
they just try to spread FUD on Bitcoin because whoever owns this site, if it's Yahoo Finance or who's the
This
author
is
of this?
Cointelegraph on this one, right?
Was the author of this one or the other one?
The other one was Yahoo, right? I guess I'm still steaming about that one, but
Yeah, what does she write about? Let's just see. Russia hackers, cyber compromise are likely Russians.
national security for CNN.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
I
the
mean,
same
one look at a profile picture.
thing that said Bitcoin's now in a bear market because it had a dip that everyone was waiting to see anyway. Yeah, these people.
Well, that was some of the more political stuff. We kind of ended up in that conversation, so I figured it was a good time to pull that up.
Not bad, not bad.
But you would like this one, Greg.
What do we got? Wrapped Bitcoin reaches 400 quadrillion market cap.
I saw something about that.
What the hell does that mean?
It was
400
literally like
quadrillion.
what they were. I saw somebody say like that the actual market cap was showing at that price.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Was it
Market
like
cap
a
glitch. Could have
glitch?
sold in that moment. That's one of those wicks to the upside you want to catch.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even read the article. I just pulled that up because I figured you guys would like it with a DeFi.
imagine that.
Ha, ha, ha.
How much?
Oh, this guy lost his Bitcoin hard drive from ages ago.
Actually, hold on. What is this? Welshman? I didn't hear about this story, but actually, after we talk about this, there's another story they were talking about. So.
Oh, the passwords one? This guy had 7,500 Bitcoin. It's buried in a garbage dump somewhere.
Oh yeah, and he said he wants to like dig it up. Like, and it's funny because I think it was Barstool was talking about. They're like, man, if I had that much money on a hard drive, that would be my lifelong journey forever. Like I would dig up that.
I would just be in a shovel.
I would be like Oscar the Grouch or whatever in the garbage. just going to town because
your friend Worm Slimy.
They would be like, "Oh, there's Oscar." Like that would be your new nickname.
I will go find those Bitcoins. Hey, that's 7,500 Bitcoins that are out of circulation.
Right, because you would literally be a grouch, right? I mean, who would be happy about losing that money? You would
dirty and
you'd be a Oscar the Grouch.
grumpy.
You'd be it. That'd be you. And if you want to go to the other thing where an X Ripple or XRP, I think he was like somebody on the board. He has 250 or $200 million, like 7,000 Bitcoin, that he lost the password to his account. Now the account is like some special like security thing where he basically has it set up where you have 10 guesses for your password, and he's already guessed 8 times. So if he guesses 2 more times, like it's gone forever. I mean, it probably already is gone forever, but let's just click that one. It's like at that point, I mean, I'd be getting what are they? Hypnotists.
Is this the guy? I wouldn't be smiling if I was him.
Yeah, but you know what though? Not for nothing. This guy probably has another 10,000 Bitcoin on another wallet somewhere else.
Yeah, he'll be okay.
Like if he was working for Ripple, like he's definitely has money, and so it's just the fact that he literally.
It's just another FUD article,
It is though, and that's the funny
all it
like,
is.
I see people talking about it, and they're like, "This is why I can never buy Bitcoin," because it's like, well,
yeah, that's all it is. It's just FUD. It's bullshit. People trying to push the price back down.
Like if you have a certain amount of money, even if it's not a certain amount of money, like maybe you should take multiple steps to put things in different places so things
right. No one could have predicted where the price is today. I mean, at the time, he obviously didn't. At the time, they said it was $2 to $6, and there was like 14.
Yeah, it was like 2013. It was from, I think.
It was like 7,000 Bitcoins, $2 to $6. So that was like at least $14,000. For me, $14,000 would be like a lot of money that I would really care about where it was. But obviously, if you just like threw it on a fucking hard drive somewhere, and was like not caring, like
yeah,
like that's your fault, and it's a $14,000 loss. Like,
if anyone's listening to the software is so much easier to use than it was back then too. It's much less likely that would happen to you now that you make that kind of mistake.
Right. I mean, and now they have the hardware wallets and stuff like that are
and they're better. It's much easier to access that information. It seems, even for me in 3 years, it's much more easily accessible to understand what to do and how to custody your own coins.
Yeah, go hit up Casa. Casa's a good third party option for custodial services. There's so many custodians out there now. Like, it's really a non-issue.
Yeah, and at some point, we'll definitely see a lot of banks at some point have custodial.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
They got approved last summer for that, custodial services. All the major banks.
Right. So like that's going to be big because like even for me, like I might keep some in a bank just because it's it's good to have things kind of spread out in different areas, right? If you don't want to have everything on one hard drive or whatever, or one paper wallet, right? You might want to move it on to different things because if something happens, don't keep all your eggs in one basket, right?
Very true.
So
yeah, I mean, the market will get what it wants,
right? And as the value goes up more and more, like you need to maybe pay attention more and more and be more aware of that. Check it more because maybe that's what happened with that guy. He just got complacent with it. He didn't think about it. All of a sudden, the price goes 100x on him, and that 15,000, or
that's a good point. That could happen to any of us,
right? So, but
we're kind of comfortable with where we're at right now. But
in another 10 years, someone's going to be like, "Man, I left a tenth of a hard drive, a tenth of a Bitcoin on a hard drive. I got to get that."
Well,
I just wrote my 12-word key code on a piece of loose leaf and stuck it in a drawer.
Put it in my wallet, and then I just said, and then they lose your wallet, and then
I wrote it on my whiteboard one time.
Right, and then the thing is, maybe it's worth $50, but then in 10 years that could be worth like $50,000.
Yeah,
USD or whatever. Obviously, I don't want to get into the US dollars, because we all like to say,
Same thing that happened with this guy. 14K to 200 million could happen to you guys.
Right,
and still could happen.
And think about it too. How many people, probably 8-9 years ago, were gifted Bitcoin? Like, here's $20 worth of Bitcoin. Here you go.
Yeah.
And it was probably like 10 Bitcoin, and then somebody gets it and they go, "Oh, thanks, man. It's $20 worth of Bitcoin. Like, what am I going to do with this?" And then they just put it in their drawer. Next thing you know, that 10 Bitcoin is worth, $400,000.
At today's value, yeah, $400,000.
And you're now going, what the hell did I do with that piece of paper?
The QR code.
So,
Yep.
you know,
That's the way it goes. I mean, this is the programmatic rise of Bitcoin. Like, it's if it continues its crazy trend, it's going to be crazy value in the future.
Well, did you guys hear about this little bit of news that came out? You must have.
what's that?
eToro's running out of digital assets to sell.
Yeah, I actually did
I
hear
didn't see
something
that.
about that. Where I think they were limiting the buy orders that people could put in and stuff like that because they were literally running out of, Bitcoin.
I saw a funny tweet. Someone wrote like, "Imagine being the guy who has the sell wall at 40K and just watching it get eaten up." And someone responded like, "It's probably eToro."
That was it. I just sold my last Bitcoin for 40 grand.
Yeah.
You're like, you're out of business now. What are you doing for that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, it's good for, it made me smile.
Yeah.
Talking about these supply crunches. I mean, this is a clear signal.
Yeah, and then like we were saying, once people start losing that Bitcoin, that 7,000 Bitcoin is gone forever.
And the
Right.
stimmies. So there's no Bitcoin left. And they're just printing more and more stimmies that people are just dumping into, like you said, stocks in Bitcoin or whatever else they can try to preserve some of that value.
FANG stocks and just unfortunately people don't realize that Bitcoin is probably the least speculative of them all. I keep seeing people like rate the different speculative risky assets. I mean, I don't know, obviously a non-coiner is going to call Bitcoin the riskiest of them all, but it's not. Like, it's way riskier to be putting your money in these all-time high stocks than it is a small growing industry like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Everything else is already exploded and big. I mean, what revolutionary stuff is Facebook really coming out with right now?
I mean,
What is Amazon coming out with? They already sell everything.
right.
Google already has complete control of search engines. Like, what more innovation are they doing?
Yeah, and
They're
then you
not
think about it,
taking any market from anywhere else. They already kind of have it.
well, too, and if you look at the network effect, right? Facebook, for us, I feel like really took off, when college, and then it really took off, and then because like originally, I think when Facebook was out, it was only for people in college. Like you needed a college email address to sign up, and then I remember at that point, sooner or later, then everybody was in. And then, now the older people, the boomer generation, baby boomers were getting into it. But the younger people are actually not into Facebook. And you wonder if at some point, now I know they do Instagram, so that's why I guess Facebook still keeps in the mix. But like, if Facebook is not cool because your mom is on it and you're a teenager, like what growth are you going to have in the future for that company,
You're
right?
done.
I mean, but that's why Facebook is obviously buying other companies to at least have, other sources of revenue. But then again, recently, right, didn't WhatsApp just have a big thing go on, right, where WhatsApp is owned, I think, by Facebook.
They've been owned by Facebook, and I saw Chamath post recently that WhatsApp is very soon going to start sharing that encrypted data with Facebook.
Right.
Which, when that tweet came out and some of that information came out, that and the Parler news, I saw Signal downloads went from 10 million to 50 million like in a day.
Yeah, and it's
It was
funny
just like an exodus from those platforms,
because Signal, it's funny how big Signal got, like that, and also Elon Musk also helped.
Yep.
What's his name? Oh God, Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden's, and like, dude, this is a guy that's like, for privacy and security, like he knows what he's talking about. He's
He
like,
needs to know more than anyone.
he's like, why how Signal works? He's like, I'm not dead yet. That's how he said.
Yeah.
He said something like that. So, that's why like I started using Signal a while ago, and I was like, of course, like this is, the way to go. Cause like, I think I don't know if I got you guys on it.
You did. Yes, you were the one.
So like I remember hearing from Andreas Antonopoulos to use Signal. And then I saw Snowden doing it, and then I saw Elon Musk like recently.
Yeah, that's who I got it from, Andreas. I've been using it for years.
The creator of Signal was on Joe Rogan pretty recently, Moxie something or other. So if anyone's interested,
Was he?
On
Yeah.
Spotify?
Spotify, which you can watch for free. You do not need a Spotify subscription.
Yeah, but I just don't feel like using the app.
I'm a subscriber anyway, so
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I might
Joe
have to
Rogan, I
actually-
haven't heard of anything since he like switched to Spotify. And I visited his Twitter page and it was like the exact sentiment I feel. It's just people just complaining about Spotify. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny, but sad. Joe
Yeah.
Rogan,
it is what it is, and I was already there, so I get to continue to enjoy Joe.
But I used
nice.
to just like downloading them and just listening it to like on like Google Play. But then
Yeah.
not Google Play, Google Music. But then Google Music changed to like YouTube Music, and now I don't use Google's thing anymore because I was like, I don't want YouTube Music. I don't want it connected to YouTube. I just want my own downloaded songs that I have that are offline or whatever to play. I don't want it connected to other stuff.
Yeah, I liked watching his YouTube videos of the show.
Yeah.
I liked just having that running in the background at work, and every once in a while I'd flip to it and check him out and just be a part of the table.
Maybe
Does he
maybe
even
give
have-
Spotify a chance. You do not need to pay for a subscription to listen to Joe.
Does he have videos still?
He
Yes.
does, yeah, on Spotify.
Where, so
Right
what
on
do you go, like,
Spotify.
It's on the app.
Spotify.com or something?
I have the app on my phone. Probably .com works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
there's a video still on the app, and Jeff,
That's Spotify right there. See?
yeah,
right.
you know,
All you ever hear, especially when you're talking about.
you might take that
Oh,
off
okay.
because you're gonna get
But you still have to make like a sign-in name and all that shit. Like,
Yes.
I don't remember. I'm paying with it
I
for
don't
my
know.
bank account, so I don't know.
oh, okay, yeah.
I signed up to them for a long time ago, and I never really used them until Rogan came on there, and then I would listen to it on there.
Has he discussed anything about like the reaction of his fan base not participating in Spotify stuff? Or he probably hasn't touched
I don't
base
watch
on
every
that.
episode,
haven't
so
listened.
not that I recall. I mean, he mentioned some things like, people just complain no matter what you do. He talks about Twitter. He's like, I don't even read the comments anymore. You can't.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. Right? He's the biggest podcaster in the world.
I
Yeah.
know.
I mean, he's the Howard Stern of podcasting, right? You know,
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
and that guy has a phenomenal career between UFC, comedy, and then starting his own podcast. That's got him probably $100 million deal with Spotify. So good for him. Congratulations. You know.
God
Yeah.
bless.
Yeah, exactly.
Not mad at him.
Yeah. So what else we got? Anything else? I mean, it's definitely getting.
Yeah, we can take a quick glance at the price charts we didn't look at yet, if you want,
Okay.
or we could wrap it up.
Should take-
Cardano doubled since we bought in. That had a nice pump recently.
Yeah, our Cardano, to me, I still love Cardano for. First of all, I love Charles Hoskinson. If anybody doesn't know, that's the basically head, or like he's like the Vitalik towards ADA Cardano. I think he's like IOHK.
Yes, input output Hong Kong. Yes.
Yeah, so he's part of them, and there's other groups too. They basically work in the programming, upgrading, and updating the blockchain. But to me,
He's a great voice in the crypto community. I think.
yeah, he is.
I feel like.
He is. He's very well articulated and just well spoken and everything.
Here's another one. If you call this a cup and handle, where's the target? Oh, we're in log view.
You know, and the thing about that this particular crypto is it's very easy to use with the staking, right? So you get a Daedalus wallet or a Yuri, or even, you know, there might be another wallet that you could use. And basically they have staking. You earn, I think, 5% compounding, right? Because you're earning ADA, which, you know, every 5 days, like, or every epoch, whatever it is, they basically issue more ADA, and it's great to have the passive income. And especially, it's only 31 cents now. I mean, I think it went up to like $1.30 at one point or something like that. And if you're earning, you know, a certain amount of this cryptocurrency every week doing nothing, and the best part about it too is when you do stake, you go into a stake pool, you're not actually using your computer or hardware to stake it. So your computer can be offline, and you still hold your crypto. You're just like basically like they're renting it kind of, but like at any time you want to pull it out of a stake pool, they'll have a bunch of stake pools you pick from. whenever you want to pull out of it, you could just go right ahead, pull it out, and do whatever you want with it. Send it, use it, spend it. So like, I and it's been slow, right? Because the thing about ADA is, I forgot what they call it, like the way they do it, where it's like oh man, I'm trying to. Anytime they upgrade or implement something, it goes through like a lot of people basically reviewing it and stuff like that, and outside sources and parties. Like it goes through a long process of creating stuff, I guess, to make sure there's nothing wrong or make sure everything works perfectly. So that's, I think, why it took so long for the Shelly upgrade. So again, I'm a big fan. The only thing about them I wish they would do is actually have, I don't really see anything like DeFi or some sort of like, even he was talking recently about social media. Like it'd be great if ADA actually made a decentralized social media built on it. That to me is like where they could, but they're basically trying to pick their corner of the market, and we'll see how that goes.
I heard a rumor that there was a token that would be used for DeFi on Cardano that I grabbed some just as like a longer term speculative bet. ERG. I didn't look much into it. I just threw a little bit of Bitcoin I had lying around into that one. I haven't even looked at it in a while. But yeah, ADA, that doubled in price since our purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if this does form a cup and handle, then the target price there, you're looking at about 65 cents.
And most of that move was really just from January 3rd.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart.
Then we got Litecoin. That was another one. Litecoin again could be looking at a cup and handle pattern here, which I like. The market's kind of behaving in a similar. I mean, obviously, it's based on what Bitcoin's doing.
Yeah.
Very much so. Price action.
There was news. I'm like, again, don't quote me on all this, but so Litecoin was doing two things. The first thing was they're trying to implement Mimblewimble, which is a privacy-based feature where I think if you want to send somebody crypto, basically most blockchains, you can see where it comes from, what they have in their wallet. Like it's all traceable.
Everywhere it's ever been. Yeah.
Right. But with that, you can actually make transactions private, because I mean, money should kind of be private, right? I mean, not like, because like, especially if you own a business, right? Let's say you own a business, like another business that's a competitor to you could literally watch where your funds are going and kind of
disrupt natural market forces,
right?
forces.
And take things out or do something, like they say, like, oh, I don't know. Let's say you own a cheese. You make cheese, and then maybe another cheese maker sees that, and then they corner the market somewhere where, like,
privacy is an essential leg for freedom. So
yeah, privacy is
people just get comfortable with it to give it away freely, but it should be preserved, and especially in business and in your transactions.
Right.
Without that,
I think, as best I understand how Mimblewimble works, the only transactions you see on chain are where the mined coins, where that wallet was, and then the wallet they're currently sitting in. So anything in between is not on chain as data.
Right, because like you see stuff where Bitcoin is if some nefarious person had Bitcoin and they sent it to somebody, and then that somebody got it, and then that person got it, and then all of a sudden it goes into you. Now all of a sudden you're sitting with like bad Bitcoin or whatever, and you get black listed. Meanwhile,
what if Kim Jong-un accidentally sends me some Bitcoin and I end up in jail?
Right. So like, and they go, oh well, it's supposed to stop terrorism and blah blah, blah. And it's like, they use
enough data to stop terrorism.
Or right wing, freaking.
Well, Litecoin is pushing all-time lows against Bitcoin, so it's a no coin for me.
Yeah, but they also are implementing, I think they might be implementing smart contracts too. So that's going to be another interesting thing. Like, if
ROI wise, it's like, why would you buy it though?
Well,
what are you buying it for?
Like, I think if you're new, right, you see Bitcoin at 38, 39, 40,000, and then you see Litecoin at 100.
Right, and that's what I'm
That's
trying
exactly
to say.
how I got started. My first purchase was Litecoin for exactly that reason.
That's what I'm trying to say. The ROI is way better with Bitcoin. Litecoin is grinding down against Bitcoin every fucking month.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that. I mean, I actually
Just look at the chart.
I think
you
in
have to believe me.
December
It's just what the
I
chart
moved
says.
some Litecoin into Bitcoin.
Let's
Yeah,
pull it up.
there's
Greg
literally
keeps bringing it up. I think he wants to pull it up on screen.
Hold up, baby.
terrible.
Go.
Put on the weekly chart. Auto.
Oh, look at some of those wicks. Woof.
Like that's BitBay. That's probably a bad one to go. I don't
This
even
is
know
an
what that
ugly
is.
chart. I just clicked. I don't know.
Yeah, go to Binance.
I never even heard of
the
BitBay.
longest history. LTC.
And another thing too about Litecoin, right? It does have or did have some uses, right? Where if it was almost like an experimental Bitcoin, if that makes any sense. Where
Yeah, it was basically a clone of Bitcoin with a few minor modifications. Yeah.
right. So the actual market cap, well, not market cap, but
Oof, yeah. Look at that.
supply is 4
Yeah.
times the.
Go buy that, guys.
And then no, look, I'm not saying you're wrong. And like I'm not buying Litecoin. I haven't bought Litecoin in.
Yeah, but I'm getting triggered over here just talking about it. Like, what the fuck are we talking
Have
about?
fun staying poor with your Litecoin.
Like,
That was I.
But again,
See where my pointer is right here?
yes.
Yeah.
That was my first crypto purchase ever, right here in this little red candle.
Nice.
And then you see this green afterwards.
That's
And
what
I never left.
That's when you should have sold it into Bitcoin.
I sold it into cash at the time,
Yeah.
Nice.
but they tripled. In like
You
2
sold
weeks
it-
in USD
sold
terms,
to
it
Matt.
tripled.
You sold it to Matt.
So I bought it here. I remember if you look at the Bitcoin comparative, this was 101.83 when I bought it here.
But Wimble says, like, shut the fuck up. Change the channel, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
All right, I'm gonna turn this off. Greg's getting too triggered.
I'm
Harry
getting
Potter,
triggered.
man. You gotta use
Jesus.
the
Go put the
Harry Potter.
Bitcoin back. Go put the Bitcoin chart back on. And
Why don't
pull
we
up-
look at this XRP chart? What do you think
Oh
about this?
my God! Don't even do it.
Well,
You're wasting the precious viewers' valuable time.
That's in
They'll never get
USD.
it back.
yeah.
The USD
Should
is a
know.
lie. The USD is a lie. A lie chart. Don't trust the USD charts.
XR poop.
Let's see. I pulled up the USD charts because we were going over portfolios.
I know.
Oh yeah,
I
this
know.
looks
Pull
on a
up the
good
weekly.
rundown.
Oh God, that's terrible. Oh God.
My XRP experience is I bought right around here. By chance, it was great timing. It blasted up. I was like, oh, this is great.
The $3.
And it was consolidating. I'm like, it's going to keep going up. And then I just painfully
I'm
watched
sorry
it.
if you're holding those coins. There's no like. What are you holding those coins? Why?
I was hoping for a recovery. And then you see
Listen.
this market pattern over here. When it broke right around here is when I bailed out. That was early this year.
I'm not arguing that like the projects, maybe they're good, maybe they provide utility, but my whole thing with all the altcoins is like, if you need the utility that they provide, you could just buy it at the time that you need it, use it, and then be done with it. You don't need to hold it. There's no point in holding it. Hold Bitcoin.
I thought it was humorous how it played out too. Like you see this pump over here it was because they had that airdrop coming from the Flare network. So people were stocking up on XRP. And then they got sued by the SEC and it got crushed even lower.
Yeah, it was probably a front run for the SEC news dropping. But
So that's XRP. That was part of the portfolio. And then the only other one we didn't
XMR.
touch on yet was Matt got some Monero.
Oh God. Again, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
but see,
Monero provides a great utility for privacy.
Oh,
if you need to
God.
make a big jump into privacy, you buy Monero and do your thing and get the fuck out of it.
I feel like we could have a good comedy episode where me and Matt try to sell Greg on old coins. And let's
I
just
go
see.
for it. I
I
just
feel like
pulled
that
the
show, The
X-
Critic with John Lovitz. It stinks.
It stinks.
It's stinky.
It stinks.
I just get triggered.
Hey, that's good. It's funny. Good content.
And then you just pull up the XMR to BTC chart.
Yeah, it's coming
and
up.
then
Don't worry.
you
I'm
go
bringing it
fuck
up.
yourself.
I almost have tears in my eyes waiting for this reaction. It's going to be good. Oh,
Oh my God.
this is red stabbing down.
Nice.
The only way you can go is up, though, right?
100% altcoin portfolio. Bang.
Well, that's where the maxis come out with have fun staying poor against anybody that doesn't, right?
Jesus Christ, guys.
So-
XMR for the win.
See, this would have been like if I was holding this and I was like not as maybe knowledgeable as I am now. I would have been like, all right, good, it's bottoming out, and then I would have been like, oh, finally, we're moving up, and then just crushed.
Rug pull.
Again, I still like Monero just because of it being a privacy coin. The only issue is
Great.
governments start cracking down, like, that's
You don't need to hold it. If you want privacy,
Yeah, you're up like 30% since when you bought in USD terms, so it wasn't necessarily a bad investment.
no
It didn't
compared
double
to
like Bitcoin, but you made some money.
yeah.
But again, this also got delisted from some exchanges recently, so that influenced that downward push more recently. Which
You
for
can
a
just
privacy coin, I almost feel like is kind of a bullish thing in the long run.
Yeah, because you could get a discount, right?
Yeah, it's to me
Maybe
showing like there's some kind of a threat there to somebody, so there's some value there potentially, depending on how you look at it.
I mean, same thing with XRP, right? Again, I'm not trying to shill XRP, all right? Not at all. But I'm just saying, if you're looking to see, because they're taking off all the U.S. markets, maybe it's a time that you could actually, gain on it.
oh my God.
We'll see.
It doesn't even exist anymore.
It's like where you type in XRP and then just like a picture of a poop shows up. You're like, what? So
I mean, all those charts against Bitcoin are horrendous.
Except like, well, we showed Link earlier.
Maybe
That was
not.
one
Well,
exception.
that's what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
I mean. I'm an advocate of Link. It provides real use case for the industry.
what about that?
Overall, it is up against Bitcoin since its implementation.
I want to use Binance because it only came out on Binance recently.
Yeah, but DOT is new anyway, right? I mean,
DOT came out in August of 2020.
yeah. So even
Binance, no, it has some other price data that goes back older than that somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but where do
I
you-
don't
where
know what
kind of
exchange I
exchange you
can
get
find that on. Poloniex, maybe?
Cryptopia.
I mean, it had a huge run up in August, September, and I mean, it crashed all the way to the end of December, and this month it's had a nice jump. So
Let me look at maybe I can pull up something here. I could just find out what's the most volume in an exchange with Polkadot. Let's see. Because that's one again. I actually might buy. I might go right off after this and just buy some, but I think it'd be stupid. I mean, it's
That's market cap.
I mean, the Binance chart's not so bad.
Yeah, Binance is the number one. What about Kraken or BitThumb? Maybe check those or Bitfinex.
It's about price history. The chart for Binance only goes back to August 18th.
Yeah.
But
Bittrex? Let's try Bittrex. Yeah, they're usually better about old coins.
Well, no, Bitfinex.
even worse. Same thing.
What about Kraken?
It's a shit coin. It's a fucking shit coin. Oh,
Maybe for
God.
short-term gains, maybe. Oof.
Oh my
Yeah, it's a
God.
very new coin.
Go buy it.
It's not really. You can't really go by much with that, right? If you get rid of that first wick downward.
I think you should go study the project, really understand what the hell it is, and see who's using it, and make your decision from there. Don't just blindly buy it because it made a 50% jump in 7 days.
Yeah,
Start
well,
with
if I'm
Bitcoin.
throwing $100 in there, I don't really,
Why? Throw $100 in the Bitcoin. That's guaranteed.
I already did that today.
50x.
Throw another 100 in.
Get that stimulus check and throw it in there.
Yeah, not for me, man.
Well, that's all the price action stuff, I guess, for now, unless you guys want to pull up anything else.
Yeah,
Crypto Lark guy's always shilling Dot, right? Crypto
Yes.
Lark. That's who's getting you. He's whispering in your ear. Meanwhile, he has a shitload of it.
Actually, the funny thing about that is I was listening to one of those episodes with him talking about Dot, and he's like, this is why, and I went click, and I hit next. I was like, I don't care, click.
I can't stand that guy. Like, I liked him for a while, but I mean,
Yeah. Now he's
much-
not even Crypto Lark. He's just Lark.
he's just
Lark
pumping up too much shit. Too much
Yeah,
pumping.
I'm not a fan of people doing that. And there's a couple other guys that have been getting a real bad.
You know, he's getting paid. I remember, I haven't watched him in a little while, Crypto Lark, but he was doing like the crypto.com card. I mean, he's making money off his channel. You gotta respect him for that. At least I do.
Yep.
You know?
Hey, man.
I'm not saying we'll never sell out,
Dollar index.
but I can't use a crypto.com card because I live in New York State,
Not New
the
Zealand.
fourth worst place in the world for cryptocurrency.
Yep.
They're. Don't worry.
Where's the Dixie going, guys? What do you think?
Down. Forever. Yeah, you should put on the monthly chart.
We're just looking at the U.S. dollar right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old dollars, baby. Yeah,
Yeah.
down she goes. As soon as that thing prints out. Brrr.
There's only so much you could soak out of it.
Yeah.
Zoom in on that bad boy.
The worst.
I have it marked up on my screen, but
Want to pull it up?
if you want, I could do it.
I'm out of material, so.
Okay. Screen share. Bang. So, I mean, for those who don't know, do you see it?
Yes.
We see it.
Wait a second. Stop. Let me separate this out a little bit. Okay. Bang.
Bang, bang.
Okay. This is looking a little messy. Anyway, this is a monthly chart. Obviously, see it goes all the way back to 1985, the year of my birth. We've been on a downward trend ever since. And this is just a visual of what happens when politicians are just sucking the life out of a currency. Just over a long period of time, it just sucks life out of it. Takes a bite, exhales, takes another bite, exhales, takes a bite, exhales, takes a bite. We're in this critical
Yeah, we're gonna exhale hard.
We're in this critical area right now where we're pushing the previous low.
Yeah. Because you're getting lower highs and
Back
probably
in
lower lows.
February 2018, we were at this low. And I mean, you guys know I like the Ichimoku cloud. We know that flat line acts as a magnet on the cloud. This is a monthly chart, and if anyone knows any TA, the longer the time frame, the more reliant the indicators and things are. So I mean, you can't really get more clear than this. And you could see what happens if we go past this February 8th, 2018 low. It's kind of a free fall to the previous low, you know, another 10.5% to get to the May 2014 low. And for those that don't know, Bitcoin is an inverse reaction to the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime dollar goes down, Bitcoin goes up. And even small moves. I mean, the dollar market is a $20 trillion market. Bitcoin is, you know, a little over $500 billion. So that's why small movements in the dollar have a big effect on a lot of things, particularly Bitcoin. But this is what I have a lot of focus and attention on is when this price goes below this February 2018 low. I mean, that's like a screeching yell on the top of the mountain to get the fuck out of the dollar.
Right there, man.
Yeah.
Right there, man.
I mean, even the dollar, it's performing really weak against like the euro and some other.
What's that? You can't see where I'm pointing. That one candle with the tall wick on the top and bottom. When was that?
The Darth Maul.
Yeah, that was the liquidity crisis in March. Then they printed all that stimulus money, and it's just boom, straight down.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
And now we got more stimulus coming in big numbers. So
Yep.
what's it going to go down? About as far, and then you're looking at that bottom. That's what I'm kind of seeing. It kind of lines up with your next bottom, you know.
So,
So
this actually, it's kind of interesting going back to what we were talking about before, right?
and the ultimate low is 2008 March, the Great Recession time. So I think it's gonna go fucking through that within the next couple of years.
So listen, I think February is where you're going to see that that maybe that next, because think about it, right? You get a new administration in, and then at that point, that's when the printer and they start issuing all these things, and you see like basically beginning of February, right? And then maybe that coincides with our previous looking at the Bitcoin chart of maybe going to $80,000 because it kind of,
I mean,
right?
yes,
Yeah,
Right?
start to see
absolutely.
these things line up. Like, wow, it's possible. That's how you get to those numbers.
It's literally like the dollar crashing,
Yeah.
money printing, and people putting it into something that is better.
That's just part of it too. You got bonds that are going zero
Yeah.
or even negative yields. So
Right.
there's wealth leaving that arena. You know, there's so many things.
Once retail gets these checks, man, they're just gonna. I mean, hey man, if I got one of those checks and I didn't really need the money or whatever, I put it all into Bitcoin. Not even blink.
That's money supply, right, Greg?
That is good old money supply. This is just goddamn insane what happened this last year.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's going to be even more parabolic than what you're seeing there.
Yeah, it's over, man. Like it's crazy to be living through this time.
And if you just flip that around, right, it's basically the crash. Like if you make it upside down, it looks like the price is just going to.
Greg, do you have that like an inverted Bitcoin chart? So like instead of BTC USD, it's USD BTC.
I don't have one of those, but I mean, this is the money velocity.
Yeah.
Money velocity is just pinholed down. It's not moving anywhere.
Not a good sign.
Well,
Unemployment.
Starting to curl up.
Well, I mean, this freaking chart is crazy. This is like the Great Recession, 2008 financial collapse, and then that's COVID.
And here comes the next stem.
Oh, did it do? Because I remember last time. Can you zoom in a little more on the more recent? Didn't I say? I think we talked about last time. It looks like it's about to retest that previous high. And bounce up, and that's exactly what it's doing.
That's exactly what it's doing. It
I
didn't.
would have made money on that trade.
It didn't quite reach it.
Yeah, because it's getting front run because people are greedy.
Right.
Not that this is a tradable chart,
but it's still, it kind of. I like looking at life charts too because it kind of shows, you know, that there's natural order to all this madness. Of what happens in the trend prices and stuff like that. Some people argue that it's a complete bullshit, but I don't know if it's the engineering, like science stuff in me, but Fibonacci ratios are real. Like they just exist in nature, and human psychology is a natural thing in nature. So there's no reason why Fibonacci ratios wouldn't exist in human psychology and price movement. So anyone who argues
and everything
that just doesn't make sense. Doesn't correlate with me. But
I think we're gonna see those numbers move up again for a while, unfortunately. Unemployment, I mean.
These are all the COVID charts. But anyway,
I want to like.
I guess we should end it on a good note. Go to the old Bitcoin chart, monthly. And when I talk about the programmatic effect of Bitcoin price, I mean, this is a log chart, but a fun exercise to look is if we take it off the log chart, I'm going to try to sneak this in here. I'm going to go all the way back to good old July, 2011, that first parabolic jump up, because a lot of people are seeing these parabolic rises we're having right now. But if we just scroll slowly through this, we can see what happens at cycle points. So that first vertical line is the first halving in Bitcoin. And what happens? Bang. Parabolic price run. Wouldn't you know?
That first one's gone already.
The first one, look how small that little guy is.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist. And then, oh God, that's parabolic. It's too late. The price is gone.
It's a bubble.
It's a bubble. Never going to be able to buy again. Oh my God. This is a crazy bear market. It's just crazy.
It's dead. Bitcoin's
that good old halving that just happens again, which is by vertical magenta. And then what happens? Oh no, it's parabolic again.
That first one's a flat line now.
What?
Look how small.
That's 20K right there. That little blip right there. That's 20K now.
I know. And now look, oh no, it's bear market. Way to hold those bags. And oh no, we're parabolic again. We're right here. So
Just
eventually
starting.
you can see this this blip
It's
here
gonna
is gonna
become
be like this blip.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just what it is. I'm sorry. Like, this is what we're all seeing. It's programmatic. You can't stop it. So
Yeah.
eventually, how do you make it look tiny? Maybe if you have something like this.
Yeah, I mean, you're touching almost on what Max Kaiser was talking about, 228.
Yeah.
Hey, wasn't my number 222.22?
Oh, I don't remember.
That's what it was.
It just is what it is. And then even in the next cycle, this is the next halving.
Yeah.
When you're going to be approaching 1 million.
I mean, how do you make that look tiny?
Keep going. Keep going.
That's 600,000?
No, more.
Oh, there's my $1 million line.
There
I
it
knew
is.
I had it on here somewhere, but it's gonna go like I don't know. It's just
no, but we
it's crazy, man.
That was
That's
a good
what I'm
chart. It
saying.
started going back in time for a minute there.
And then you know what? In 5-10 years, we can go back to this video and be like, "Boom! Look at me."
I know. I mean, hopefully the world's still kicking.
Yeah, that's the next thing. Hopefully, there's no war. Or
We'll make it through, man. There's going to be some ugliness along the way, but we made it this far. We're going to keep making it.
Just gonna.
I think the most optimistic community is the Bitcoin community because we actually have a tool to use against the oppressors that are coming.
And I think it gives us a kind of an optimistic view of the future too. Like there's hope,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
At least for me, it does.
sound money equals a better
That's-
civilization, right?
It makes me feel like I have a choice.
Makes me feel like I have a choice. Yeah, it's hope.
I mean, that's definitely so. On
That
that
point,
note,
guys. I think
Bye,
that's
This
a
was a
wrap.
long one tonight. It was a good one though. I had fun tonight.
and hopefully the next time. How about this? So for the next time we come back, any predictions? I don't know when we're going to be back next. Maybe in a week or two. But
Let's call it 1 week. Let's make a 1 week prediction.
So
On what?
I guess
What are we
Matt
predicting?
and I were correct about the last one. It's kind of hovering above 38 right now.
like we were,
So-
yeah. But Jeff actually hit the 42.
But it
Like,
was
wait, when's,
about when we talk next.
When's the inauguration?
20th. You mean when's the military coup standoff? The 20th.
I think I feel like we'll have some upward price movements like immediately after inauguration. That'll be my prediction.
All right. So let me think. 'Cause I should have looked at the chart, but I would say I'm just gonna pick a number 46.
Oh, we're doing a number? 1 week?
46K. 45K. 45.
45K?
Yes. Yeah, 45. I mean, that might be pushing it, but I could see it spike to, what? No, maybe it's too much. Maybe 43 or 42.
Too much.
I don't know. I mean, we hit 42 before.
62.
Well, that's
I'm gonna
the
aim
next
high.
Kaiser number.
I'm going to aim high. 62.
62. If it's 62, we're gonna almost have a party there.
Look at that juicy weekly candle. Nice tail.
Yeah. So
What do you got, Greg? You got a number for 1 week out?
I think he lost his audio.
Lost audio.
What's your number, Jeff?
1 week. 54.
54,000 in a week.
Jeez. God bless you.
You are bull.
1 week, I'm going to say, I don't know, 42K.
42. All right.
You guys feel like we're going to be pretty flat this week? Maybe a little grind up.
That's not flat though. That's still up.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
still 8-10%. That's what 8-9-10%.
That's it.
What are we at right now? 39?
Yeah.
I guess about 10%. Yeah.
All
So-
right, guys.
I'd say 44, 45. But if that, thank you everybody, and have a wonderful day.
See you
Okay.
next time.